Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to tackle one of the absolute biggest challenges in business. How do you actually manage massive, large-scale transformation without everything falling apart?
All right, here's how we're going to break it down. First, we'll get into why this is such a problem, what we're calling the complexity maze. Then, we'll look at a whole new way of thinking about change. After that, I'll introduce you to a platform called Modus. We'll look at its 4 core pillars, and finally, see how it all comes together to give you the pulse of your organization. To really get a handle on the challenge, let's start with this analogy from Sean, the person behind all this. He says, understanding business transformation is like trying to understand how your own body works. Think about it. You eat food, and somehow your body turns it into energy. There are countless processes, signals, and systems all working together that you never even see. That's the level of hidden complexity we're dealing with inside a big company.
So what makes this maze so tricky to get through? Well, it's basically decades of stuff just layered on top of more stuff. Old processes, legacy systems, departments that don't talk to each other. It's like layers of rock. And trying to change just one thing without seeing the whole picture, it's like you're trying to solve a jigsaw puzzle in the dark.
And yeah, this really paints a picture of that tangled reality, doesn't it? You've got all these internal pressures from your products, your data, your systems. And at the same time, you're getting pulled in a million directions by external forces, your customers, your suppliers, and of course, your competitors. It's this constant tug of war that forces companies to keep changing just to stay afloat.
So, how do you find your way through this thing? Well, it's not about having a better map. It's about a whole new way of thinking. We have to get away from the idea that transformation is some big, one-time project. It requires a total shift in philosophy.
And that new way of thinking is called transformation as usual. The big idea here is that change shouldn't be a special event. It needs to be a continuous, normal part of the business, just like finance or HR. Think of it like organizational fitness. It's a muscle you have to build and maintain every single day, not a panic button you hit only when things go wrong.
And you can really see the difference here, side by side. The old way on the left is all about these slow, isolated projects that are always at risk of just getting stuck. But the new way on the right is about a continuous, proactive process that keeps the entire organization leaping forward.
Okay, a new mindset is great, but how do you actually do it, right? How do you put it into practice? Well, that's where a specific tool designed for this exact purpose comes into play.
And that tool is called Modus. You can almost think of it like a giant funnel for all that complexity we've been talking about. It's designed to take all the chaos of a modern business, the strategies, the processes, the people, and organize it all into a single, clear, manageable system.
So, how does it work? Well, Modus is built on 4 core pillars that all connect and work together to give you this complete 360-degree view of your entire organization. It all kind of works like a cascade, you see. It starts at the top with strategy. What's our mission? Where are we going? That then flows down into the operating model. How are we actually structured to get there? Then that informs change. What projects do we need? What skills do our people need? And finally, and this is crucial, none of it works without human development, empowering the very people who have to make it all happen. They're all totally interconnected.
Okay, but here's where it gets really impressive. It's all about how Modus handles the sheer scale of it all. This is where that abstract idea of complexity becomes very, very real. We are not talking about managing just a few projects here.
A single corporate strategy, that might break down into hundreds of different pillars.
And each one of those pillars, well, they're supported by thousands of different programs.
And those programs then spin off into tens of thousands of individual projects. The whole point of Modus is to map every single one of those connections. That way, when one little piece changes, you can see exactly how that ripple is going to affect the entire system.
So when you connect all these moving parts, what do you actually get? Well, you're essentially creating a central nervous system for the business, a living, breathing system of knowledge.
And to make that nervous system easy to use, Modus has this built-in intelligence. Think of these tools, the bots, the mobile apps. They're like a smart assistant or a buddy for everyone in the company. They help people quickly find what they need, understand how their work connects to others, and see the real impact they're having.
And this quote really gets to the heart of it. Modus isn't just some static database where you dump information. The goal is for the system to actually learn the organization's unique rhythm, its pulse. It's about creating a living model that understands how the company truly works and evolves over time.
And that brings us to maybe the most important point of all. In any big company, people come and go. It's just a fact. And when they leave, all their experience and knowledge often walks right out the door with them. A system like this centralizes that learning, so it stays, creating this permanent, intelligent foundation for everyone who comes next.
And that leaves us with a really important question to think about. In a world where things are constantly changing and people are always moving around, what is your company doing to protect its most valuable asset, its collective knowledge?
So what we're talking about is a big shift, from one-off projects to continuous evolution. It's about taming that complexity by building a system that actually learns the pulse of your organization. If you want to dive deeper into all this, you can find everything we talked about today over at modustransformation.com. Thanks for watching.